Hey, all you cool cats out there, and welcome to the Late Night Jazz Cast, featuring me, your host for the evening, the Jurassic Park. I decided to start a laid-back podcast, late at night, some smooth jazz, bringing you those feel-good vibes when you need them the most, when you're all alone, sitting and you want to just sit back, relax, and chill. I figured this would be an easy way to let you cool cats unwind a little bit. So yeah, hopefully this will all work out and we'll have ourselves a grand old time, hey. I figured for this first episode, what I'd do is I'd break out a little bit of the poetry I've been reading, and I'd read you a couple lines, and maybe we'll talk about them a little bit. We'll have a segment where you can unwind, listen to some jazz without me yakking in your ear. But for now, let's check out what we got going down over here. Alright, so yeah, I got some poetry here. I use an app called Meraki that lets me write poetry and share poetry. And I figured this would be a nice, chill, easy way for us to unwind. So let's read some poetry that I have here, and we'll discuss what some of it means. Maybe you'll appreciate it, maybe you won't. Now, this is not, self-indulgence or anything. Yes, I wrote these poems, but, I like poetry, and it's a nice, calm way to unwind. So let's see what we got here. The first poem I have here is titled The Scream. The Scream. I tried to free my soul, but much to no avail. The voices in my head let out an everlasting scream. Now, I wrote it, so I obviously know what it means, but let's discuss it. The Scream. I tried to free my soul, but much to no avail. The voices in my head let out an everlasting scream. I wrote this one a while ago. I feel like I was going through a lot at the time. I feel like what I was trying to say was I had so much going on in life that it was hard to it was kind of hard to I don't really know. It was hard to really say what I wanted to say, It was hard for me to, explain what I was truly feeling. And I felt like I had so many things going on, so many voices in my head that they were screaming everything at me, and I was confused and dazed and didn't know what was going on. But yeah, I like it. I think it speaks a lot for what I felt at the time. Let's check out something else. Let's see what else we got. Here we go. Here's one I wrote called Mad as a Hatter. It was one I had written a while back. I was reading up on some Batman comics, and I started reading up on the villain, the Mad Hatter, from Alice in Wonderland. And I tried to write a poem about Alice in Wonderland because I really liked it. So let's see. Mad as a Hatter. I'd fallen down the rabbit hole and come back up again. I tried to save my twisted soul. I tried to cleanse my pain. Like Tweedledum and Tweedledee, my demons, they still tortured me. With all that Wonderland had done to me, my brain had warped inside of me. Now if you'll take me by the hand, I'll take you down to Wonderland. Because I'm crazy. Or is it mad? I think it is the latter. I'm crazy. But I'm definitely mad. Yes, I'm mad. As a hatter. I feel like this one, I wasn't necessarily trying to speak personally. I think with this one, I was literally just trying to write a poem about Alice in Wonderland and about the Mad Hatter. I don't think this one was actually meant to be, like, oh, well, I actually feel like I'm insane and, all this stuff. Let's see what else we got. Here's one I wrote called Deadly Shallows. It was a poem I wrote about pirates and that type of sort of horror. It was like a horror poem that I wrote called Deadly Shallows. The ship was black and dark as it sailed across the waves. It hid among the shadows, hidden from the sun's rays, waiting for another ship upon which it could prey, waiting silently for the attack. Whenever an unsuspecting boat would pass along those waves, it would no longer be afloat, for it would be in flames, sinking to the darkest depths of its watery grave. A blazing streak of flame and fear shot forth from the shade. No one screamed, for no one dared. The smoke began to fade. Amid the rubble of the mist, there lay the lifeless form of a vessel that appeared to be kissed by the rigors of a storm. Nothing was further from the truth. The ship upon the scene had not been touched by storming sluice, but by the something never seen. A horror's tale of death and despair, of a ship that could vanish into thin air, a ship that preyed upon the weak, a ship so fast, a ship so sleek, a ship that hid among the haze, a ship that if you spoke its name would set your precious boat ablaze, this ship of deadly, ghostly fame. It disappears into the night without a single sound or sight. It sheds its tale of fear and fright to those on which it preys. You can run, but you can't hide. There's nowhere else to go. Accept your fate this ship creates. We'll see you down below. I don't know. I was very fascinated by horror at the time, and I wanted to write a poem, like an epic, about this horrific ship that was shadowy and was hidden, and it would fly out of the shadows and grab you and yank you back in like a ghost ship, I don't know, I thought it was pretty cool. Let's get into something a little happier. Here's a poem I wrote called Reloved Again. Reloved Again. I fell without end to the place I began. I started anew to be closer to you. You brought me along and sang me a song. Our love's melody made a sweet harmony. Together we sailed on a sea of dreams, into a sunset filled with gleams of a life well spent in eternal love, in eternal romance, and peace like a dove. I wrote this one. I've never been in a relationship before. Well, okay, I shouldn't say that. I was in one relationship, but it didn't last very long because the girl I was dating, I only dated her for like a week. It was a week at summer camp, and by the end of the week, she told me that she was leaving to go home to her boyfriend, so I felt that, that wasn't very nice of her. But I don't know. I feel like my emotion there is pretty strong, and I wouldn't mind being in a relationship. And I feel like this was just kind of something that popped into my head. I felt like writing a love poem. I don't know why. Let's see what else we got. Here's one I wrote called I Fell. I fell in a pit of an endless abyss of your never-ending, selfless love. That was just a cute little beautiful poem I wrote. I'm not sure. I love poetry, and I write a lot of poems. Here's one I wrote called Out of Reach. The girl I dreamed of stood before my eyes. To have her with me, I had tried. She left me with no words to speak, and still her love was out of reach. I wrote this poem, not too long ago, honestly. I was interested in a girl. I'm not gonna say who, but I wrote this poem to kind of express how I felt at the time, because it seemed like she was right there and I could have done something to kind of get that relationship going, but it also seemed like she kind of was going the opposite direction from me and was kind of not really able to be reached, you know? And it didn't really work out, but I don't know. And if this is boring to you, I'm sorry. This is just kind of how I open up to people. Here's one I wrote called I Sang to the Trees. I sang to the trees, but I got no reply. I spoke to the wind, all I got was a sigh. I said hi to the sun, but then it said goodbye. I danced in the rain, and all it did was cry. This was kind of just a way I wanted to personify nature in a way. I sang to the trees, but I got no reply, because, trees don't say anything back to you, even though they might look lifelike, Well, I mean, they are alive. They may look human, but they're not going to respond to you. I spoke to the wind. All I got was a sigh. The wind kind of sighs as it goes about its ways, so I thought, this was kind of a good portrayal of that. I said hi to the sun, but then it said goodbye. The sun sets and the moon comes out. I danced in the rain and all it did was cry. I'm trying to be happy, trying to be positive in this world, and the rain just keeps pouring, Let's see. Here's one I wrote called Unending Corpses. I wrote this one about World War II. It was kind of a little ballad I wrote as a tribute to the American soldiers who went and fought in World War II. Let me read it. Bodies lay before me, all around in huddled masses, like piles of trash, as shells ring out a thunder in the distance. Like lambs to the slaughter, we had been sent to fight a European front, and I, the lone survivor, waded through a sea of unending corpses. I wrote this one because I felt like World War II wasn't really our fight. Same with World War I. Like, it wasn't our fight till Pearl Harbor happened. And thankfully we didn't get involved until that point, but it always, in the back of my mind, it always seemed like World War I and World War II were European problems, and we were being sent over there to help fight their battles, World War I and II would not have ended if the U.S. soldiers hadn't showed up, and it just kind of felt stupid to me. It felt like, why do we need to fight their battles for them? They can fight their own battles, Let's read another one. This one I wrote it's called The Grand Illusion. This one rings very true. I wrote this one not too long ago, and this one rings very true to me, and I'll explain it afterwards. The grand illusion. Some would say the greatest illusion is for a magician to make someone think magic is real. The greatest illusion, however, is making people think magicians are real. Your life of wonder and magic lasts only as long as people let it last. Performing the grand illusion till one day the magicians disappear altogether. No more magic, no more amazement, no more magicians. I wrote this as kind of a, I recently watched a French anime called The Illusionist. I think it's called The Illusionist. And it's about an older man who's a magician. And it starts out with him doing these great illusions in front of it, on a huge stage with a velvet curtain. A huge audience is watching him, and he's doing these grand illusions, pulling rabbits out of hats and making things disappear all over the place. And throughout the movie, it slowly fades into him doing less and less crowds and working in little taverns and stuff, and people aren't watching his tricks anymore, And it kind of rings true back in the day when magicians really did pull rabbits out of hats and make doves fly out of wherever, That was true magic, and the whole illusion back then was convincing people that what you were doing was real. People were mystified. They thought, wow, how does he pull a rabbit out of a hat? But nowadays, people figure those tricks out so easily, and it seems like magicians are dying out and they're not that cool anymore. It seems like the only magicians we have nowadays are card magicians. And I myself do card magic. I do card magic, but it seems like no one ever seems to, believe in magic anymore. Everyone knows there's a trick behind it, and they don't know how to believe in magic, It's kind of sad to me, and that's why I wrote this, because I feel like magic is a dying art, and it's really sad to me. We'll do one more poem, and then we'll have a little break here. We'll chill to some jazz for a little bit. Let me look in my repertoire and find one. One moment. Okay, here's one I wrote. I called it Tragedy Number 9. I am witnessing the tragedy of mine own death, and realizing I was never capable of any more than that which has already been done aforetime. All I could do, 'tis but done and over, complete, in a shadow of regret and despair, as now I'm viewing the sorrow of mine own demise. Pictures of my life are being painted before my very eyes, as they burn away toward an endless nothingness that is the destruction of me. And yet now it seems the grass is greener, the clouds have silver linings, and the path I trod leads me to the light of a place I'll soon call home. Let's kind of break this poem down. We'll read the first stanza. I am viewing the tragedy of mine own death, and realizing I was never capable of any more than that which has already been done aforetime. I wrote this because I kind of feel like the best that I've ever done in life, the best that I'm ever going to do in life, is already been done. I'm kind of a little bit afraid that I've already done the best I'll do. And let's read the next stanza. All I could do, 'tis but done and over, complete in a shadow of regret and despair, as now I'm viewing the sorrow of mine own demise. Again, I kind of feel like I've done the best I've already done. And I feel like if I was gonna do any better, I would have already done it. You know what I mean? Next stanza. Pictures of my life are being painted before my very eyes as they burn away toward an endless nothingness that is the destruction of me. I feel like I can see everything that I've done up to this point, and it seems kind of like if I was gonna do better, I would have, you know? Let me read the next line. And yet now it seems the grass is greener, the clouds have silver linings, and the path I trod leads me to the light of a place called home. I realize that while this is true, it's getting better. And even if I've already done the best I can do in this life, when I die, I'm gonna go to a better place, you know? And it'll all be better there. Okay. I think that's enough poetry for this part of my podcast. I'm gonna crank up the jazz a little bit, and we're just gonna chill a little bit to some smooth jazz for the next few minutes. We'll let it go for about maybe a few more minutes, and we'll just relax. This is a late night jazz cast for all you cool cats out there. So just relax. Sit back in your chair, kick back, and just relax to some chill jazz. Let it go through you. Feel it as it pulses through your veins. All right, here we go. Let's kick it. Let's get to some more upbeat jazz vibes to help liven the mood. Let's see what we can find here. Just relax and feel the jazz. Hear that piano play. Hear that musician just tickle the ivories, boy. Makes you want to just sit back and sway. That's right. Smooth like butter. Just listen as he tickles the ivories. Hear that saxophone play. Play, boy, play. That drum beat, that saxophone. Smooth, man. Real smooth. That cat sure can play. Just chill to the music, boy, chill. Real smooth, man. Just swing it, boy, swing. Tickle them ivories, tickle them, boy. Play that magic number one more time. Could it be it's too late at night, boy? No, it's never too late. It's never too late. Just chill. Just let the music carry you. Carry you. On and on. Get those good vibes and just swing with it, boy, swing. Alrighty, we're gonna tone the jazz just a little bit down, boys. And we're gonna bring back our podcast. We'll tone it down just a little bit, boy. But not too low. We want to keep the good vibes going all night long. Alright guys, I'm back. Glad we could chill a little while. Now, I enjoyed reading my poetry, but I feel like we should definitely go a little deeper. So I'm gonna get out of my poetry on this app, and I'm gonna go into the Discover tab, and we're just gonna see what kind of poetry we got, and we're gonna read some of it and try to figure out what we think they're talking about. Who knows? Maybe we'll discover a future master poet. Here's one, and I'm not gonna mention the usernames here for discretion. This is a poem titled Unforgettable. Says, we don't usually get what we want the most. Sometimes we have to fight for it. Remember to make that one fight unforgettable. Okay. I like what he's going for here. So we usually don't get what we want the most. So that basically means whatever your goals are, they're not gonna come easy. They're not gonna just hand them to you on a silver platter. You gotta fight for them. You gotta work hard. And remember to make that fight unforgettable. Make it to where you remember, hey, I did that. I worked hard for that. I tried, you know? That's a good poem. I like it. I'm gonna save that. Let's find another one. Okay. Here's a poem. It's called Devil. I wasn't a devil until others tried stealing you away from me. Man, that's powerful. Man, true love right there. Wasn't a devil until others tried stealing you away from me. Man, that's good. Man, that got me. That's good. Let's see. Here's one. It's called Reality's Dream. If you have a dream, and if you want the whole world to be with you, you better be a character in a novel where the hero wins, because motivation is great, but reality is different. Okay, that's also powerful. If you have a dream and you want the whole world to be with you, so if you have a goal and you want the world to back you, you want the world to be behind you, it better be a dream where the character wins, the hero wins. Because motivation is great, but reality is different. That's very true. I think what they're saying is, if you have a dream, you better make sure that you win. Because just motivating yourself doesn't always work. Because reality is very different. Because people have their own views, their own ideals, their own ways they go about doing things. And they're not always going to work with you. People aren't always going to agree with you. I find that in my own workplace. I have to work hard to agree with people, you know. Man, that's good. Let's see what else we got here. Okay. Let's see. I'm skipping over some because there's some that aren't very, they don't look too good to me. Doesn't mean they're bad, I just trying to find some interesting one. This one's kind of funny to me. Not funny as in like, oh, haha, why would you write that? It wasn't meant to be humorous, but it's good. It's good. I'll read it to you. It's called Existence. All women in the midst of these hustle and bustle trying to match with men, forgetting their actual purpose of existence. They are created for not doing what men can, but instead for doing what men cannot. I find it funny just because, it cracks me up when people talk about stuff like that. But let's dissect it. Women are created for not doing what men can, but for doing what men cannot. Now that's not saying women can't do things that men can, but there are certain things men can't do that women are there for. Men, and you may disagree with me on this, but men cannot love children the way women do. A man cannot raise a child the way a woman does. Now, a man can raise a child. He can. Just can't do it the way a woman does. There's something about a mother's love. I mean, like, you look at people who come from the worst neighborhood ever. They grow up in a rough home. Their mom could be a jerk to them. But you talk bad about their mom, they'll fight you. Because that's their mom. Their mom brought them into this world. Now, that's not to say that their mom, is right in whatever she does. I mean, but, I grew up in the South. I know. You don't talk bad about someone's mom. You don't do that. Let's see what else we got. Let's see what else. Let's see. Here we go. Silence. Silence. It's what you hear at a funeral. It's what you hear when betrayal strikes. Silence. It's what I hear as I pass into the unknown. It's what I hear when I go. It's interesting. You never think about it that way, but it's very true. Silence. Silence, it might be the quietest thing, but it can also be very loud. Think about that. And to clarify, not all the podcasts for this are going to be about poetry and jazz. That can get boring. But I wasn't sure what to do for the first one, and I thought, who knows, maybe some people will like this. Hopefully I'll have some more structure, later on. But, here's one. Why Don't I? That's the title. Says, I've been asked so many times, why don't you fall in love? And every time I'm stuck, why don't I fall in love? But yesterday I did. I'm positive he's the one. I was so sure I knew it. We'll be happy, I know. I felt it in my gut. My intuition says it's him. Today I was reminded why I never fell in love. Why I never got close. It was all he wanted from me. Why I never let myself fall. They all want the same thing. I should have learned this from every past experience. That's interesting. Now this isn't my poem, this is someone else, but so what they're saying is everyone asks you, why aren't you in a relationship? Why haven't you fallen in love? And you start to ask yourself that, and then you feel like you need to be in a relationship, and you start finding that guy, and you find, or that girl, and you find that person you think you need to be with, and then it doesn't always work out. It's kind of sad. Something to think about it. Let's see. Here's one. Darkness. Once upon a time I sat alone, quiet, in a dark room, right beside the window, watching the time passing by, and guess what I realized? Darkness is not always negative, and quietness is not always silent. That's good. That's a good poem. That's what I was talking about a minute ago. Darkness isn't always a bad thing, and quietness isn't always quiet. You sit and listen to quietness for a long time, you can start to hear things, and you sit in the darkness, you can feel some joy. We'll read one more and then we'll probably wrap things up here. Let's see what we got here. This one's funny. It says, people love your presence, but I'm in love with your absence too. That one kind of cracks me up. That one was real short though, so we'll skip that. People love your presence, but I'm in love with your absence too. It's kind of like that thing, I love you a lot when you're in another room type of deal. Let's find one more. Let's see. Let's find a real deep poem. Okay, here it is. This one doesn't have a title. Let's read it. You told me to keep it a secret. You kept hiding me from your friends. You were always afraid of us being caught. You were never really proud of us. And if there was something wrong with me, or with the idea of us being together, but for me, it was the best thing ever happened. So he's saying that he's in a relationship and his significant other kept him a secret from his friends because she was afraid they would get caught. But he wasn't ashamed of it. He thought the idea of them being together was the best thing ever. Well, that's a good way to end this on a positive note. Well, that was the first episode of the Late Night Jazz Cast. Let me guys know what you think. Leave us a comment. Give us some skin, boy. And as always, remember, stay cool out there, cats. Stay chill. Get smooth with the jazz.